begin. Hello, beautiful people of the world. My name is Dalton, coach of Rank State Boxing. Welcome to our podcast, To the Bell. I'm here with my lifelong friend Gustavo right here to my right. And in the middle is Caleb, one of my fighters, right? Caleb Hudson, the champ. So, in case you didn't notice, this big black strap belt right here, Caleb did have his amateur debut, not last weekend, but the weekend before, which was October 14th. So, I know we haven't posted a podcast in a while. Life gets busy. Life gets in the way. We understand that. But we figured he won his debut. So I figured we'd bring him on the podcast. We talk about it and just kind of his experience, his reactions to what went down. So going right off into it. So a little backstory, right? Caleb had, we were supposed to really fight when?
I want to say it was October 22nd of 22.
Yeah.
So last year.
So it was supposed to be a while back. Some stuff happened and all in all, I had him in four different events, and each one just kept falling through. And for people that don't know boxing, it can be, you match up with a guy, and he has this many fights, and you have 0, and that falls apart. Or you match up with a guy, and he gets injured, and that falls apart. Or even the day of the fight, the guy doesn't show up, right? So there's always...
Or he shows up, and he's just like, I don't want to fight.
Yeah, so there you go. You have so many different variables to go into amateur boxing. Things that line up perfectly just about for you to even get in there and showcase your skill. So, we'll just kind of run through the day, what happened for your amateur fight. You want to, elaborate on, the night before, the day of? What's your thoughts?
I mean, it was pretty much just another day. I slept fine. I was just like, we're fighting tomorrow. Just
another day in the office.
Yeah.
Damn. I like that. I like that.
It is.
Man,
I think I was more nervous than him. For weeks, I was like, I'm anxious. I told work, I was like, look, this Saturday, Sunday, I'm not coming in. Well, you can come in Sunday, can't you? It's only a one-day event. No. I'm taking off the whole weekend. I was like, that was hype. I've been waiting for this. Like you said, fights don't come, they cancel, whatever reason happens or whatever. And finally it happened. I was like, yes. Yes.
And even then, for the people that don't know, Caleb was matched up within, so typically you train for 6 to 8 weeks leading to a fight, depending on what your conditioning is before fight camp starts, right? So we get the notification that there's a fight lined up for October 14th, an event. So we're like, we'll put in for it. We put in for it. The guy that he was matched up with almost happened instantly. And he had 0 experience. The guy he was supposed to fight with 0 experience. So we're like, all right, it's set and conquered. We're good. The guy he was supposed to fight was in back-to-back fights. It was a weekend, and then you wait a week, and you fight again. You're fighting back-to-back weekends. So we started ready for training camp. All this stuff's going on. And throughout the whole fight leading up, there's a lot of trials that me and Caleb faced, as coach and fighter, with his physical being expired, finding a place to get a physical the week of his fight. The guy pulled out the week of our fight. He pulled out that Monday, so we had to hurry up find a last minute replacement. And it was just a lot of stuff up and down for his fight. It's supposed to happen smooth. It was not smooth sailing at all.
No.
But we did what we were supposed to do. Made those adjustments outside the ring in order for us to get into the ring, and all happens good. The guy you were supposed to fight pulled out. Where do you go from there? What happened? What was the leading up to that?
What made it pull out?
We know he pulled out, so now what happens? He pulls out, and then what do we do?
I have to find another replacement. I have to find somebody else, because I'm still fighting, if at all possible.
So that happens, and I text the guy hosting the event and let him know, hey, our guy pulled out, what do we do? And he ended up finding us a replacement. And, again, the fight that happened, it was in Owensboro. It was back in the borough, was the name of the event. And we ended up having to fight one of their guys. And again, I took my hat off to the guy that stepped up to fight Caleb. It wasn't his fight. It wasn't it wasn't supposed to be him in that ring with Caleb. But again, I want to just shout out Owensboro Boxing Club.
Yes. That's
where we went multiple times during this training camp. They were kind of our training partners leading up to this fight. And again, their guy pulled up to us, so big shout out to Zach. He was an amazing fighter. He showed heart the whole time. He never once backed down or stepped back. He came to fight. So,
he did.
Again, huge hat off to that. Tip my hat off to Zach.
Yes.
Huge shout out to their gym, Owensboro. It was a great event. We can't wait to fight again with them. They really helped us out tremendously for this fight. So, let's talk about that day, right? We get there, we weigh in. Let me tell you, tell us what you encountered throughout your day leading up to the fight.
Nothing really. Like I was just trying to chill. Like I don't want to be that guy like pacing around, just like all anxious. I was like preparation. The work's already done. I'm just gonna like show what's been done in the ring. So, like I mean, I was just trying to chill out, not burn out my legs, just chill all day, pretty much. Just keep a like calm, level head.
And again, man, it's been a little over 2 years since you stepped foot in the gym. And to be honest, most fighters, they train 6 to 8 months. My guys, I'm like minimum 8 months. If you want to fight like legit, like you want to compete, 8 months. Why 8 months? Because that shows me that you're willing to take the time to really learn your craft to get in there. Like like we said, preparation is key. Getting you ready, sharpening your tools for battle. And again, that's 2 years, man. That's a long time overdue for your first fight. So I understand that. I know that it wasn't easy leading up to that. You had a lot of trials going on. You had a torn meniscus. You trained with that for like 9 months, and you had a fight lined up. 2 fights actually with the torn meniscus, and both of them fell through. I was like, man, that shows you like, man, he's like, I'm ready to fight with the torn meniscus or not. So let me ask you this: so what kept you motivated throughout your past, 4 training camps? So I had you in 4 different fights you all fell through. What kept you motivated to stay on that track throughout all 4 of those training camps? Because it was like back to back to back.
Yeah, well, like as a wise man once said, I didn't come this far to just come this far. I mean, we're still going.
Because you got, man, and the thing is, training camp is intense. I mean, it's every day, it's Monday through Friday, it's 5 days a week, and you're just going through it. So, I mean, kudos to you. During your fight, talk about that. Round 1, round 2, round 3. Let's hear it. From bell 1, ding, bell goes off.
He come out a lot more aggressive than I thought, but, like, I mean, I kind of, like, slowed it back down to, like, my pace, and just, like he would start fast and, like, finish slower. So, like, I mean, I was just, like, steady pace through the whole fight and, like, just, like, keeping the pressure, like, steady.
And you guys are in the audience. What did you guys think about
Man, like you said.
Now, again, round 1. We're on top round 1. You guys in the audience, bell goes off. You watch Caleb throw those combos. What's going through your mind?
Go ahead, Davis.
Oh, you go ahead.
Okay. My thought was like, he's like, oh dang, he's coming out like he's swinging out the park. Like, okay, he didn't come and play. Okay, you know what I'm saying? But Caleb did his thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like he said, he was ready. I mean, 2 years. I was like. I was nervous that whole day. I ain't gonna lie. I was more nervous. And when they went ding ding, I was like, I told his mom, I was like, you can't hear me scream. I ain't even scream because I was just so nervous. I was filming the whole thing. Like I'm not moving. I'm not doing nothing. And it's just like he said, he was coming in there swinging or whatever, and I was like, yeah, Caleb got it. He knows what to do because I mean, he already done this, done that, and done this and done that, and done this and done that, and more. So I mean, I was like, he got it. Because I was just ready for go in there and let's go, and like we did, but I mean like it was great.
Davis, to you.
But it was just like we talked about before the fight. All those fights in the amateur series, they tend to come out 100 mile an hour. And we talked about that before the fight. We had to say, hey, keep it slow, keep your pace. Because that's just part of amateur fighting that happens. So you had to keep yourself under control, and you did. He did exactly that. He kept the pace of the fight.
So round 1, Caleb, like he done everything we worked on. He done good. The bell goes off. I get in the corner with him, and I'm like, how do you feel? And he's like, first thing he says is what?
I didn't breathe at all that night. I was on my breath.
Yeah. So I was like, look, man, the hardest part was like that first round. I was like, you did good. Go in there and make sure you breathe. Like, just relax, box, like, do what you do. Like, just stay nice and relaxed, go in there and go to work. And, like, the second round goes in there, and he starts, like, I can hear him, like, breathing. So I was like, all right, we're good. And, second round, like, what's your thoughts on that?
I feel like...
Me watching it, you started to really engage the right hand. You started really slipping and throwing your combos. Like, it just took you... The first round was kind of like the hiccups. Like, figuring out, okay, what do we do? What kind of guy do I have in front of me?
Yeah, it was just like the feel round, and then it was like initiate game plan pretty much from the second.
Right. And again, you did exactly what to do. You always want... Me as a coach, I want to always see, okay, the guy that we're fighting, if I can find anything on the guy. And I'm like, I want to use their best attribute to work around that. That's like my game plan. And you just got to figure out, like, it's not about what you do great, it's what he does good too. You know what I mean? That's what we kind of like go based off of. And again, Zach done good. He has a good base on him. And I mean, he showed heart, man. And that's what I was like telling you, man, stay sharp because anybody can land one punch. That's all you need is one punch, and that can be an 8 count. So I'm like, let's just make sure we have good defense and good combos, and just stay sharp. And you done good, man. Like all of it was good. And was there any part of the fight that you was just like, man, I may not get it?
Like towards the end, kinda, because it's like hometown. Like I was just like, judging in the amateurs isn't always the best. Like,
I agree 100%.
I mean, sometimes like you think the pros get robbed, and those dudes are making like good money judging. Like the amateurs ain't making nothing. So it's just like pretty much anybody can become a judge for amateur boxing. So I was like, I don't know, like, and pretty much just when they were like, and your winner, and I was like, okay, and then it's like.
So let me ask you this: what specifically did you work on during the fight? And this can be the whole fight as a whole. What specifically did you work on?
Just like counter his right hand for him.
That was kind of the bread and butter.
Yeah, and like throwing the jab like after combinations and stuff.
And again, I always talk about this in the previous podcast. Usually the guy that establishes the jab in the beginning usually wins the fights. Usually the guy that starts off with the jab, that's like your best punch in boxing. That's what all your combinations come after is a jab. So usually the guy that establishes the jab, keeps the jab going, is the one that usually wins the fight. Almost every time, typically. Now, before the fight, how did you deal with the nerves and the emotion before like walking in there?
I was just like, just
do you embrace it or do you run from it?
No, you just embrace it. You lean into it. Like it like freaking out. You're like, this is my first fight. I don't know what to do. Like that's not gonna help anything. It's just like whatever is gonna happen is gonna happen. I'm just.
Would you say traveling to gyms to spar that helped?
Definitely.
Good deal.
I'd say the crowd pumped him up pretty good.
Considering that ringside was like, wow, like after every even walking in there, it was just, cloud nine. Everybody's just yelling and screaming, and
I still just picture the crowd when they hollered. When Caleb first walked out to the ring,
and everybody's like,
we got loud. We scared the audience. They jumped. They turned around. I was like, what the?
And
they didn't know what was going on.
So when you have a good support system like ringside, we like every fight we have at least 20 people that say every fight, even if we have one person fighting. What really helps a lot is like the audience and the judges. When you're in there, you just kind of you're in this motion, right? You just wait for the day to end, and then you hear like people screaming. You automatically put my phone down. Who's walking out? Like now you're more engaged for, right? And even during the fight, a judge can like look like this and tell you who's winning, like just based off the crowd, So that's a huge having a good support system helps out a lot. Even if it's a few people, like you want to be loud for your guy, like especially your guy. You don't be yet loud for the opponent. Like you beat him up. Like you want to support your guy, yell for your guy, and it helps out a lot because the judges are like, oh okay, like this guy's he's gonna be good. Let's watch him. Let's really pay attention to this fight. So it was definitely good. What's the most valuable lesson you learned during your first fight?
I don't know.
There's probably a lot of lessons you learned,
Yeah.
Like what to expect, because we talked about, even like fight week, we talked about sparring, and Davis even pointed out, he's like, I feel like, I didn't watch you guys spar, but I feel like you're going to throw 3 times that many punches during the fight. So you might have learned a valuable lesson right there, like, I need to overthrow and spar and lead up to fights, or, I need to make sure my legs are conditioning, because we talked about it. I was like, round 2, like, you're going into 3, and I was like, how's your legs doing? He's like, dude, they're gone. I was like, one more round, go in there, give it your all, and you're done. So, as a valuable lesson right there, conditioning the legs, but to be honest, like, always say you're only as good as your last performance, so I was like, maybe you got to go out there and give it your all, and that way we know what to work on, go out there and really, leave it on the table, and you're doing good, man. I've had 3 guys now. I love to add to my stable of fighters. I've had 3 guys now that's never boxed a day in their life, and they've all won their first fights. So I'm like that. I feel like that speaks volume on ringside. Me as a coach, people from Glasgow, I feel like that. Just add to my credentials. Like I can take somebody that's never boxed a day in their life, and give them a win, a victory, and it's huge. And we talked about it. Like you were like, man, I don't have that. athletic background like Chase and JT. I didn't have that. You know, I had to take you and build you up like from the base up. And he says, he's like, man, I feel like I was always a step behind because I didn't have that. Like, you know, JT played football and basketball, and Chase played football and basketball. He's like, I didn't have that athletic background. I didn't have, like, walking into this, I was just a kid wanting to box. So I think it's neat seeing how everything just kind of progressed. And
he blossomed into a beautiful flower. All I gotta say, I promise you that. First time I seen him, I was like, yeah, long hair, okay. And then, like, I seen him again, haircut, shoulders start getting, you know, kind of big, back start getting back. I was like, who is that?
Well, I always say he went from, like, you know, he went from homeschool to Houdini.
Yeah, Houdini. Oh, my goodness.
And, I mean,
like,
that's
dang.
the thing, like, you know, and that goes in anything, man. That's all aspects of life. If it's boxing, lifting weights, or whatever, stay on the path. You know, like, he didn't derail, even though he had so many chances to be like, man, I'm going to do it. And the week of, man, I called Caleb whenever we found his fight fell apart, and I was like, I was just trying to calm him down. Like, you know you're upset. Like, dude, you're like, this is all I want, is to just showcase my skills. It's all I want. I'm a fighter. Like, just let me, why is it that hard for me to fight? And I just had to calm him down and talk to him. The next day, I was like, man, it makes you want to quit, don't it? He's like, yeah. Like, it makes me want to just be like, fine, I'll just take off a month. Like, this, I've been training for 4 months now, like, hard. Like, I just want to fight. Why is it so hard for me to just get in there? And I know a lot of people that have experience competing, and you get there, and they're like, you've worked so hard for this one goal, and you get there, and they're like, you're not going to get to do it today. And you're like, oh, come on. It's just a huge letdown. So, like, my goal was to just, man, stay calm. No matter what, it's going to work itself out. No matter what. Like, you're going to fight. It's all going to work out. Just have faith and, like, keep that same energy, like, all week. Don't worry about it. Because it's easy to get discouraged. Even the Wednesday, it's fight week. Was Tuesday or Wednesday? Was it Wednesday? Wednesday. I never do this. I always pack the Friday before competition. Always. And Wednesday, Kev's at the speed bag, and something's telling me to, like, go ahead and start packing. I never do that. Like, something's like, go ahead and pack early. I was like, all right. So I start packing up. And I start getting my duffel bag ready, my tape, my gauze, all my boxing stuff. And I walk in the room to get his coaching, like, to get his physical papers to turn in. And I look at it, and I was like, oh, man, this expired, like, June 2022 was, like, when it was due. And I was like, well, let me text some buddies. And I was like, hey, man, how long is your physical good for? He's like, the year after the exam. I was like, man, I got to walk in here, and Kev's at the speed bag. I was like, hey, man, your physical's expired. And he's like, so now what? I was like, well, you have to get a physical either today, Thursday, Friday, at the latest Saturday morning. Get a physical. We'll drive, like, we'll go get your physical and then drive to Owensboro. And he kind of was like, you can just see his face change. Like, he's like, man, what if I can't get into, like, next week? I was like, don't worry until we have to worry. Like, let's just ride it out, see what happens. So he gets done. He, like, texts his mom. He called in, whatever. We get done training. She's like, yeah, we'll get you in Thursday. I was like, sweet, we're good to go. Bam. Again, fight week. Dude, this is like, you want all that stuff to happen at the beginning of training camp, not the week that you're about to throw down, you know? Thursday, he goes to the physical. He pulls it up. It's just me and him. He's like, again, got this look on his face. I was like, you good? He's like, man, I get there to get my physical. I get my physical, and they're like, where's your USA boxing form? And he's like, I handed you the one that expired, but y'all gave me the one I had last year. And they're like, oh, well, we can pull it up, but we can't print it off. You need to print off your USA boxing paper and then bring it back. So Caleb's like, well, I don't have time to do, like, you're about to close. I don't have time to go get that and then come back. So he pulls up to the gym. It's Thursday, and he's like, tell me about it. So I took him up to the place up the road, and I got to print it off. And I was like, I don't know how big the copy needs to be, but here it is, whatever. And then Friday, luckily, his mom got to go and get it took care of, dude. But that last week, man, had me like all over the place. Because I got a little cool, you know, I'm his coach. If I freak out, he's going to freak out. So he's like, what do I do? I'm like, you're good. Let's just get it took care of. Because you don't want to be like, you're right. What do we do? Are you not going to be able to fight Saturday? Like, we're like, and we're both like, I don't know, are we? You know, like, that's not going to help the case. Because the thing, if you don't know, if you go to a USA boxing event and you don't have a physical, you're not going to fight. You don't even get on the scale to weigh in to fight. So that's what we're thinking about. I mean, we got to go ahead and get all this stuff took care of before we go in there. And they're like, nah, dude, you're not competing today. But he did. He got in there. He got the job done. As you can see, his first fight was a belt fight. That's huge. A lot of fighters go their whole amateur career without a belt. They just win trophies. And again, it's trophies, medallions, or belts. And, you know, we got to add this to the wall for a little bit. He gets to, you know, reminisce on his first fight. And is there anything you guys want to say?
No. You got it.
Proud of you.
Yes.
Yeah, congratulations. So again, huge shout out to Owensboro Boxing Club.
Yes.
Shout out to Zach, his opponent that stepped up, didn't once back down from that. It was a good fight, tremendous performance from both fighters. Zach said that there's a lot of people walking up to them saying that was the fight of the night, and I agree. It was a boxing match. It wasn't just a slugfest. It was boxing, movement, jabs. I mean, footwork, the whole shebang.
I think it was the hypest one.
It was good.
It was the hypest one.
Huge shout out to Coach Jordan from Owensboro
Yes.
and Coach Justin. You guys treat us like family.
Yeah,
you guys have since day one.
Mm.
We got to the spar. They cooked for us. You guys have been family. Our family. Always going to be family. And
Preach.
we can't wait to be on another call with you guys. And just huge shout out to you guys. If you like what you saw, like what you hear, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys so much. Time.